Anakin! I have the high ground!
Hello and good evening. Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 12, The High Ground, first aired back in 1990, but here in 2025 on Live Long and Podcast, we're just getting started. Whether you're joining us live on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, or catching us the audio version wherever you get your podcasts, our mission to rewatch every episode of TNG continues. One hostage crisis, one moral dilemma, and one test of Federation ideals at a time. Now, here's the guy who watched Beverly Crusher become a pawn in the Civil War, Picard wrestle with the ethics of neutrality, and Data deliver one of the most controversial lines in Trek history. I'm your host, Dave Mader. And we're going to break it all down tonight with tonight's panel. Coming in first, he's watching the shadows behind Rudia's conflict, where misinformation is a weapon and neutrality is a trap. Our intelligence officer himself, it's Justin Velociraptor.
Good evening, Captain. How are you this night?
Good. Glad to have you back with us, Justin. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you with us. Joining us again, he's just not reading the treaties. He's mapping the motives behind every maneuver from Ottawa to Rudia 4. He's tracking the long game, the quiet tells, and the moment diplomacy turns into theater. It's Adam Woodward.
Hey, guys. Hey, Dave, I didn't notice until tonight how 80s/90s, early 90s, that theme song to our little podcast tonight sounds.
Yes,
well done.
It might be a little bit on the nose, but it's how it goes. I was a child of the late 80s, early 90s,
Lots of synth,
if you will. Lots of synth. Gotta have the synth. And also coming in here, he's tracking the echoes of diplomacy through the corridors of the Enterprise, from Federation ideals to Rudian betrayals. If Picard's playing the long game, he's already reading the footnotes. It's Jeff Mader.
Okay, hey, how's it going?
Hey, glad to have you with us, Jeff.
Yep.
Welcome
Let's
back.
talk about terrorism.
Let's talk about terrorism. It's about you and me. Yes, we are breaking down The High Ground tonight. This is the 60th episode overall of Star Trek: The Next Generation that originally aired January 29th, 1990, written by Melinda Snodgrass, directed by Gabriel Beaumont. This episode, Dr. Crusher is kidnapped by Rudian separatists who hope to force Federation involvement in their struggle. As Picard weighs diplomacy against intervention, Riker leads the search, and Data questions whether terrorism can be justified when oppression leaves no other path. So some really interesting philosophical questions here in this episode. I think very relevant maybe to some current day affairs, and when violence is or isn't acceptable, the morality of the different Rudian characters, this terrorist character, the woman who's like representing the governing power, and all of their takes. I want to go to Justin first. What did you think of this episode?
I love this episode, Dave. It's one of my favorites because it's one of the only ones, especially early on, that doesn't wrap itself up in a nice, neat little bow by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It really still leaves a lot of questions lingering for the audience. Whereas a lot of episodes in Star Trek, everything goes back to status quo by the end of the day, unless it's a two-parter. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I love the deep philosophical cuts on this episode, and I'm looking forward to discussing it with you boys.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, 3 Enterprise crew members die in this episode, and some number of Rudians as well, and the threats. Adam, what do you think of this episode?
It's a very good episode. like Justin, I like that it wasn't wrapped up. I think that they did a very good job in portraying both sides and understanding what's like. It's not a one-sided argument here, clearly, and I find myself sympathetic to both.
Okay, Jeff. It'd been a minute since I watched this episode. I don't know how long it'd been since you'd watched it, but it was better than I remembered it. What did you think?
I couldn't tell you the last time I watched this episode. Probably when I first watched like TNG straight through, which was many years ago. Okay,
it's not one you go back to, right, Jeff? Like
you know what's funny is these type of episodes are the ones I really love because I really like philosophical deep diving into moral quandaries, and that's what this episode does. Like there's episodes in Deep Space Nine that do this really well. Like there's an episode with Jake and Bashir when they're like helping out with their medics basically, and they again have to go through a bunch of moral questions of like, do you focus on the war or do you get yourself involved, or what do you do, like like what is required here? And you kind of see that with Beverly in this episode. She starts questioning where she is, what matters, what doesn't, and I think all that stuff's important because that's the thing is about with war or conflict or occupations is people get one-sided. People get they get a focus on something and they can't stop that one track mind. And I think that's what this episode does well, is it gives you a bunch of different perspectives and none of them are really willing to bend. Nobody bends on their perspective, really. Not Picard, not Beverly, not the main rebel guy, not the what are they called? What I don't even remember.
The Rudians, I suppose.
The Rudians, and what are the other?
Well, it's just like they're all Rudians, but I guess one are from one continent and one are from another continent, and so it's not very specific. But basically, what we're told here is that on this planet, which is a neutral planet, it's not a member of the Federation. It's just like a planet that sometimes the Federation trades with. There's kind of a group that's in charge. The bigger power, the bigger continent. Let's say
in Santa.
Yeah, and they control the other side, the other country, the minority country, and they denied them their independence 70 years earlier from the events of this episode, and basically there's a kind of a terrorist cell or like I think this is often brought up in Star Trek, is one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter. When's the distinction? When does the morality go away? I think that there's obviously a lot of parallels to Israel-Palestine in this episode.
Right now.
Yeah.
I mean, back then it was very much. I'll add this in fun facts, but it was banned in the UK at the time. This episode because of Ireland.
Yeah, because it talks about Irish reunification, which
even when it aired, that line was edited out for years.
Yes. Yeah. When we had Sean Farrick on the episode, on the podcast, we asked him about it. He was like, "Yeah, you couldn't get it anywhere. You had to find it in some back room if you wanted to see Data make this one passing reference to Irish."
Go see a Ferengi trader somewhere in a dark alley,
which was supposedly was going to happen in 2024, but it didn't in our timeline.
We missed that. Yeah.
When did that happen?
Yeah. I guess we missed that one. And I think like tying into what they'll do later in Star Trek, like with the Bajoran terrorist / resistance movement, the Maquis as well, being sort of like this idea of like, well, can you be a noble sort of warrior that operates in the shadows, as Picard describes you, somebody who is got your ideals, but what are you trading in on your ideals to achieve your ends? I think is a question. When is violence okay and not okay? And all these things come up.
This episode on the heels of last week's, which I didn't attend with you guys, but which is an amazing episode, by the way. When you
The Hunted?
consider, yes, how well North America we treat our returning soldiers from battle. I'm sure you guys got into that last week,
Right.
but like these are heavy topics.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? I
Yes,
think for
it is.
Star
It
Trek
is
to
a
be-
very, but again, this really shows the relevance of Star Trek. Even 1990, when before a lot of stuff was happening in the world that we're dealing with today. We came out of the Cold War about this point, and or we're coming out of it, and a lot of optimism, versus what we have today. Post 9/11 and that world. Yeah.
Right. And they often talk about like the stuff that they even did with the Bajoran terrorism and how that was depicted in Deep Space Nine. They don't even feel like they could have necessarily done it the same way post 9/11 had they made Deep Space Nine in the 2000s instead of like the 90s, and how that would have been perceived by an American audience at the time.
Yeah, the
right?
Cardassians would have been the good guys.
Well, I think I think it comes down to this idea of like when you're killing innocent people, like in the episode, the woman, the oppressor group or like the authoritarian group, like they're saying like like they were trying to kill supposedly a bunch of police officers, but then they blew up a bus of kids, and all that. Or like I used to consider myself a moderate until they tried to kill me 3 times, and all these kinds of things, and I just want to go home to my country. And on the other hand, like, why don't you just give them their independence? Like, that's not explained. Or why that can't be done.
That's the one disservice of this episode is it doesn't explore the oppressor enough. It only
and what their motivations are, like why they
Yeah.
even want to control this minority group.
What
you get a
was the
nice-
episode we dealt with a few weeks ago with the? My goodness, just give me a second. I'll bring it up. Not the defector, the one.
A couple of weeks ago,
The Vengeance Factor.
The Vengeance
The
Factor.
This has really got a theme going here. Like,
Yeah.
you got Vengeance Factor, Defector, Hunted, and now High Ground. Like these are.
It's also a long string of episodes that all begin in starting with the enemy, the price, the Vengeance Factor, the Defector, the Hunted, the High Ground. And next
it's
week
like
will be,
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
one
It
with
really
the thing.
changes tone next week when we go to Deja Q.
We go to Deja Q. Yeah, it goes a little bit more light. Although there's some deep moments in that too.
But like again, when I come back to the tone of these episodes at this time in writing, like it would, I like Ronald D. Moore a lot. And when he went on, of course, when he went on to Battlestar, and after 9/11, that was a dark show too.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, we're talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation, 3rd season episode, The High Ground. If you were wondering, good episode.
Anyway, want to get on with it?
Yeah, we can get into it. Okay, let's talk about the episode in screenshots and everything we saw. So the Enterprise has arrived here at Rudia 9. We get the voiceover from Captain Picard explaining that this is a neutral planet, but the Federation enjoys a trading arrangement with them, or like at least the governing power here on Rudia 4. And so we got this little lunch here with Crusher, Worf, and then Data approaches them, but to head out here. Just in the middle of their little lunch, there's an explosion here in like this atrium area. Seemingly, it kills a couple, or at least injures a few people. Dr. Crusher jumps into action, even though Worf's like, "We got to get out of here now!" Like
He did
warrior.
Nothing. Like he just stood there.
Yeah. So Dr. Crusher, well, he's like, no, don't do that, Dr. Crusher. And Dr. Crusher runs out here. We see a member of this, of the terrorist group is present here at the cafe, probably the one who planted the bomb. He'll come into play later on the episode. He observes Dr. Crusher coming out here and treating the first wounded here by the explosion. Worf's like, we can't stay here. We need to go. And Dr. Crusher orders him to help her. He's like, we can't stay here. And he's like, okay, well, I got to follow orders. Even like the Rudian security guy here, he's like, you really shouldn't stay. Like, this is really stupid. You really should get out of here right now. Then Data comes along and tells Crusher pretty much the same thing. And she doesn't want to listen. He's like, they have doctors. This planet has doctors. And she's like, well, they're not here right now, and I am, so I have to save them. So she's not
the correct move.
Mhm.
You know, like,
well,
I don't understand why they keep talking her out of helping people.
because there's a security threat.
There's always a security threat, though. Like, you know, when someone's hurt or someone's just got blown up, you know, like a doctor's gonna not just be like, oh, well. You know,
Well,
like,
in case you get taken hostage.
well, that's what ends up happening. Is that what they're worried about? Or are they worried about another explosion going off?
Both, maybe. You know, it's like they're like, maybe we should get out. Plus, it's a civil war. It's an internal planetary conflict that they have really nothing to do with, and they should probably exit here. But that's kind of the point of like the Rudian leader here. What's his name? Like the terrorist leader.
Carol Flynn.
Kirill, yeah. And he's like, you already pulled up a share to this the second you started dealing with them. Like you're friends with this government, then you're my enemy, basically. And I don't want much to do with you. So as she calls over for like alcohol and bandages, this member of the terrorist group, he's like, oh, hello, doctor. Like he's like kind of sizing her up like she's a snack almost. Somebody they can recruit. And Data reports up to Captain Picard and Riker, explain the situation, and they're like, well, we should get her out of there. But Dr. Crusher's like, won't leave. And he's like, well, I'll order her. She's like, you can't make me, Captain. I'm staying. The transporter room's like, yeah, I can beam them up right now. And the best part here is when Picard looks at Riker and he is like, oh no, I'm not. I don't want to be the guy.
I don't want to be in the transporter room to greet her.
I don't want to be in the transporter room to greet her. Forget that. So, okay, proceed, Doctor, but be careful.
Yeah, but again, that's just a bad decision. I think I hear what Jeff's saying, but they know something bad's going to happen. Get her out of there.
Well, and Captain Picard will later say as much in dialogue. He's like, I should have just beamed you up when I could have, and the whole situation would be avoided. Then the police basically show up. This character played by Carrie Keene. She's Alexandra Devo. She's the leader of like the group that's controlling the planet, the oppressors, if you will. Just as Dr. Crusher is treating one of these people that have been hurt in the explosion, a member of the terrorist group shows up through the dimensional portal because they have dimension jumping technology. And before they can shoot him, he like warps away with her basically and pulls her through the portal.
This is kind of cool because this is the first time we've seen like something so fast in transporter technology.
Yeah. It's just like boom, boom. You pop in and out like faster than you would beam in and out, right?
Yeah, and remember, like at this point, we'd only seen the original series and this series, and it was very, chimey and slow as they beamed.
Yeah,
away.
you have to like slowly materialize, to like it's faster in the TNG version than it is in original series, but it's not an instantaneous process either, and this was a little bit more instantaneous. I couldn't quite figure out if this alien species that basically is identical to humans is just like known for their gray streak in their hair, but only some of them have them. Like, is that what makes this the Rudians?
Well, even the kids have it,
Yeah. So it's just another alien species. Like last week with the hunted and that planet and all that, they were all identical to humans too. So I'm like, there's a lot of planets with humans on there. Anyway, he shoots this guy, steals Dr. Crusher, and pulls her through the portal. And just like that, she is gone. And what now?
They just look mystified. They're gone.
They're gone.
So before we go on, Dave, I have to know. I love these uniforms.
Oh, they're okay.
I do I like the color. I think.
Yeah, it's got some quilting on the shoulders, and I don't know, like they're like the helmets are pretty like stormtrooper-ish, but like they're not bad. I've seen.
I also thought it was interesting that with every power woman character in this age of Star Trek, every woman they slicked the hair back or made it very short.
Yes. I guess to make them more masculine, maybe. I don't know.
I mean. Like Tasha was the first
ponytails, yeah.
Anyway, so that where's Dr. Crusher? We don't know. That's our teaser for the episode. It's an interesting setup, although you don't quite know where this is going. As Dr. Crusher's been abducted, and our title card after the credits, the high ground, as they're having a conference. Data and Worf have returned to the Enterprise, talking to Picard and Riker, explaining like why would they want to steal a Federation citizen. We get a lot of exposition here from Data about what the conflict is and then how it started and whatever, like, you know, the backstory. So but they can't detect Crusher's comm badge is the other kind of key takeaway from this discussion, is that, you know, either she's dead or she's somewhere, or the comm badge has been deactivated, or it's somewhere they can't find it. Anyway, so then we meet Flynn, the leader of, or Finn, the leader of the terrorist group. He tries to offer Crusher food, and she is non-cooperative with him in these first few scenes they have together. She just stares. She just sort of like recited her serial number. That always works. You know, when you say like Crusher service number 6 to whatever it is, you know. He's like, but he's trying to win her over. Now we'll find out that the terrorists, they want Crusher's help because they're using these dimensional transporters and it's killing them basically. It's not a stable technology. So anyway, but Crusher is she's not too happy about being abducted, and who can blame her, quite frankly. But you know, Finn being this sort of, I don't know, he's sort of charismatic. Like, did you guys like him as a character, as a person? Like, did he seem likable?
He's charismatic, but he's completely morally bankrupt. Like, I mean,
well, yeah, he's got a lot of questionable choices. Now we'll find out that he had a son that died in police detention at like 13. That could have definitely hardened him. He's been fighting for his independence, his country's independence in his mind his whole life, and that matters a lot to him.
It's definitely shaped who he is as a person. You can tell from their dialogue how it, because he's an artist, right? Like, you see him throughout this episode drawing some really nice sketches of things, particularly right. Dr. Crusher. So like, he's got that sensitive side to him, but then he's also willing to blow up the entire Enterprise to see his goals forwarded. He's a very ends justify the means character.
Yeah, he definitely is. Question here from Ambulatory Bird. It's just me, or are you all in portrait mode? Well, you can watch us on the vertical mode, or you can watch us in the horizontal. So you might want to go to the other feed there, Ambulatory Bird, if you're looking for the other version of the feed. But for those on it looks like you're on a phone, so 916 version. Anyway, so after this first encounter, he's like, okay, fine, don't eat, I don't care. And we'll come back to him. Then we have the scene up in Picard's ready room on the Enterprise, where it's Troy and Picard talking to Wesley about how his mother's been abducted and what they don't think that they'll likely kill her. They might want to use her as a bargaining chip.
Go back.
This one?
No. Is he looking at her eyes, or is he looking down?
Well, he's kind of blinking in this moment. I kind of got a screenshot with a blink. But he might be looking at her cleavage. Who's to say? You know, I guess she would know based on her empathic abilities. Hello, Heather. Glad to see you. Greetings to you.
Hey, Heather.
So this is all very confusing to Wesley. He doesn't quite understand the motivations of
his face. Shows it. Look at his face.
Just bargaining chip. Yeah.
How old is what's Will Wheaton? How old is he?
Will Wheaton.
He's about 17, 18 at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like what they've done with his hair.
Yeah. He's always wearing that muscle suit underneath his uniform, so it always makes him look like he's like a linebacker. I don't think he was quite this built, but you know, that's how it goes. Anyway, so I think Picard puts Wesley on charge of trying to figure out what the hell's going on, how to maybe track down where his mom is.
Is this to keep him busy?
Keep him busy, not let him worry.
Yeah.
You know, and all that. So he puts Picard,
make him feel like he's doing something, which he turns out to do. So,
and after he sends Wesley away, then it's like Deanna's like, he needs your strength right now, Picard. And he's like, I know, but he's kind of he cares about Beverly too. And there's that moment where in this episode where Beverly's like gonna say something to Picard, like, I just need to say something to you in case we don't make it out of this. And that's when like the lights go out and everything happens. And I'm like, what was she gonna say to him?
Nothing.
I wanna have your baby.
Jeff Picard.
I'll have your baby one day.
He looks forward. When he talks to her.
When he's really dealing with deep emotions and like sort of conflict, he doesn't make eye contact and all that for sure. She doesn't need empathic abilities to detect eyes on her cleavage. Fair enough, Heather. Fair enough. But
I think that's where the eyes were going. I don't think that was just a blink.
That's why Picard looks away.
Picard is focused. He's don't even think about the cleavage.
I don't want to report to HR here. That's what he's thinking. So,
don't report to HR. Isn't she HR?
She
is HR, and you know what? Who watches the Watchers, if you will. Yeah. Sometime later, we have Picard and Riker meeting with this woman who runs like Alexandra Devos. She's like the police chief, I guess, of wherever this is all taking place. Because they're trying to see if they can track down Crusher, but she's not too optimistic they'll get her back alive. I think she refers to the terrorists as animals. Yes. And that they're beyond sort of reproach and
there is
reason.
A lot of terminology and parallels with what's going on in the modern day right now.
There's a lot of dehumanization in the way that she speaks about the rebels.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's not too optimistic here. And Picard and Riker are like, "Oh, this meeting wasn't so fun." But okay. So, and then she also points out that they have this technology that can let them appear out of nowhere, and they don't know where they got it from. She says, we've taken a few of these items off dead terrorists, basically. And so, Picard is going to take it back to the Enterprise to like study it while Riker works with her to try to see if they can find it down. I know. I feel like there's probably more scenes this episode, more with her and Riker than we get in the episode, but they kind of get put into a unlikely team up here to sort of solve the case. We then go back to the caves here with Crusher and Finn. He's like, "Hey, I got the food. Why don't you do?" He undoes her feet and her bindings around her hands and gives her food, and she does accept the food for a bit here. But she kind of, starts saying like, "Why are you abducting me?" He's like, "Well, you're giving all these things to the other side," and she's like, "Medical supplies and whatever else." Am I forgetting anything else about? Eventually, she's going to say something in this conversation he doesn't like, and he takes the food away from her and says, like he's not afraid to kill people. Basically, he's speaking to his sort of brutality and his disregard for life that Justin was alluding to, and how sort of determined he is to achieve his ends. Is he the animal that this other woman accuses of him of being, or is he more complicated, than that? Is kind of
everyone's complicated,
Mm-hmm.
Like it's this, like when you start calling people animals, you just disregard any motivations, whether or not they be unjust or just, because he does have some unjust motivations, I would say, but he also has some just ones, so like that's the thing with what he's doing is he makes some good points, but it's also misguided. It's not the right way to go about things. It's it's not the path. But some people, when they get to a point of no other options, this is what they do. It's that's kind of the true reality. Data makes that point later on in the episode.
Well, and you think of
I was going to say that the phrase that comes to mind for him in particular in this, especially when he comes to that line about having lost his son, is the Samuel Johnson quote of "He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man." And he's had so much pain in his life fighting this fight that he has almost become the animal that they describe him as. But at the same time, you have to turn that mirror on
That's right.
the person who said that as well and see, how debased they've become because of what they've had to live through. And she has a great speech about that and how she just wants to go home later on.
Oh yeah. I was going to say that she has the same speech, just differently said. You know, when she's describing to Riker later on.
Yeah, I have that clip when we get to that part.
The most sickening part, I think, what you're talking about when they talk about the kids, like later on, and they say like, "Oh, well, you know, these kids are just as bad," you know, and what, you know, like, what are we going to do?
The kids, they're arresting the kids.
Yeah, when they're arresting the kids, and they're like, "Oh, well, the kids are part of this society that will want to kill us, so they're just as bad."
Or they're just as much of a threat, you know, at least.
They're just as much of a threat, yeah. And it's like, well, why don't you take a look at yourself? Have a little bit of accountability. Why are they like that? What's happening?
Yeah,
you know?
Comment here from EJ saying, you know, this episode, not just for Star Trek, was one of the first episodes on TV to also show the terrorist side of like the perspective. You know, maybe we're a bit more used to that in perhaps today's television, but yeah, this is 1990. Again.
I think that Justin, you know, because you watched a lot of MASH, the North Korean side a bit, or perspective from the soldiers' perspective.
Yeah,
but you're right. There wasn't a lot going on in TV at this time. You were right or wrong.
At this, and the other thing that they say that like it was 70 years ago they were denied their independence, right? This guy is clearly younger than 70, so therefore he's been fighting for a country of his own, an independent country of his own, his whole life. You know, probably passed down to him from his parents or something like that, or even his grandparents, and that it's sort of indoctrinated. I think of like Braveheart. I think of like when they're fighting for Scottish independence, and they're like, we'll have something we've never truly had, a country of our own, and like the dream of that. You know, but then once they kind of get their independence in Braveheart for a little bit, then you see all the corruption kind of pop up, and there's more. It's more complicated sometimes than the ideal you're chasing.
And then they publicly execute the leader at the end of the movie, and that's kind of what happens at the end of this episode.
Kind of, yes. And this is 5 years before Braveheart, but
I'm just going to excuse myself for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Please continue.
Sure thing. So then later on we have it's here in the base. We got Finn to show, you know, because he's saying we have sick people. Crusher is willing to treat them. You know, these are all the people that have been using the dimensional jumping technologies, and it's killing them. And you know, Dr. Crusher starts her analysis here, but it's not looking good. But people are in pain. We also meet this kid. He's supposed to represent the next generation of this fight potentially. He's the one who holds back at the end and doesn't kill the woman. You know, and he hands her medical supplies that they of course have stolen from the other side here, and that there should be children involved in this thing, but that's kind of some of the comments she's throwing out here, getting at how entrenched this conflict really is for both sides. Then we have the conversation later on here with Riker and Alexandra. This is, where she's talking about all of the animosity she has. Riker says an interesting thing here. First I'll play her clip where she explains her side of it.
70 years ago, we denied them independence. That gave them a noble cause. Now it's just an excuse for more violence.
That was an interesting way of framing it, right?
What a contradiction. What a bunch of bullshit. 70 years ago, we denied them the right for self-determination, and now they're still mad about it. Yeah, they're going to be still mad about it. What do you think?
Get over it.
Yeah, get over it. You're conquered. Get over it. This is what drives me nuts about the occupier or the oppressor mindset. It's just no. Have a little bit of self reflection and
put yourself. I got empathy for the other's position, right?
Yeah.
This
is the case of the British toward the Irish. There's lots of examples of it throughout history, but it's just they
North
never
American,
get it.
Indigenous. Yeah. When are you going to that happened years ago? We just forget it.
Oh, that's ancient history, And Riker has an interesting thing here where he's like,
you hate them as much as they hate you.
Yeah, you hate them as much as they hate you, and the cycle of hatred.
And she's taken aback because she's like, "Well, no, I don't."
I'm a moderate.
I have a moderate. Yeah, yeah.
I was actually quite tolerant of all until I was dealing with it. And then she's like, the assassination attempts on my life and the school kids that got killed and all this stuff, right? All the collateral damage in the fight.
Right, but
the,
the root cause is what her sentence was just about. What's the root cause? We denied them.
We denied them, and she's also kind of positioned that maybe it was once a righteous cause, but not anymore.
Right.
It's not a righteous cause. It's lost that, in her mind.
It was 7 years ago.
Because it was 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Is this when she talks about the school bus full of children? Is that
yes?
This. So I mean, contrast with that, them arresting the teenagers, and throwing them in detention, or his son having died in detention at 13,
right.
Well, she explains later on that, like, when those kids were killed, it was actually another kid from, like, the terrorist side that had planted the original bomb.
Yeah, and mistake or not.
Mistake or not, right. So, but they still sent a kid to do that.
Yeah. And they still send kids through those dimensional doors, which are killing them, which are very much, in my mind, an analog to a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
Just a slower
version
death
of that.
for the suicide bomber, which, I mean, in the 90s wasn't as prevalent as it became in the years afterwards. But
right.
Still.
And then because I remember when I was in high school, and like you would hear more about these suicide bombings in like Israel, Palestine all the time, and it was the feeling that I was getting, not my own personal feeling, but that was unacceptable, and that was making in the case of Palestine, like them a much less sympathetic group because of those tactics they were using, right? Like, and that was sort of the feeling there.
Well, yeah, but the you can't justify an unjustifiable act, like that's the thing. But like you can understand what is going on. Why is it going that way? You have to ask those questions, and once you start asking those questions, you start getting the answers you don't like. That's what happens.
You start realizing how unclean everybody's hands are.
Yeah. Well, and like I don't think that like these people are like the same as like the Cardassians against the Bajorans, but like it's the same kind of a thought process. Like if we go back to what Kira's speech was.
For 50 years, you raped our planet and you killed our people. You lived on our land and you took the food out of our mouths, and I don't care whether you held a phaser in your hand or you ironed shirts for a living. You were all guilty and you were all legitimate targets.
And you can have your own point of view on that.
According to this lady, she would be a terrorist.
Right. Well, and I don't think that Kira necessarily denied she was a terrorist,
Right.
But that was what she felt like she had to do for her cause. Right. And she killed children, Cardassian children and whoever in those in things, not always intentionally, but she was not worried about it. She also killed her own people in that process.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's like, how much is that idealism worth? And how much is it worth?
But what was the root cause? It was Cardassia occupying that planet.
I think trampling on people's autonomy rights, like one group trying to control another group, ultimately is unsustainable. I think is what it means.
Yes,
and that's kind of like the thing you got to take from this. But then it's like, well, we can't reward bad behavior. We can't give independence to people who blow things up or kill people or murder people. Like, what sense does that make? But I don't know. Anyway,
there's no real world analogs to that.
No.
Why that ever happens today. Yeah.
So back here with Crusher and Finn, where she explains that they're all dying. Everyone, like all these serious people, are dying. She can't save them. He's like, so he loves this new technology that they've used to teleport and jump into these situations, but it is killing them. But it's also like helping their cause dramatically. And he's like, you can't. She eventually figures out he's also infected with this affliction. He hasn't used it quite as much as the rest of them have, but like it's killing him as well. But he's like, that's the way it goes, and she can't understand any of that. She doesn't have any sort of sympathy for that position.
She's disturbed.
She's very disturbed.
and rightfully so.
Yeah. It's a pretty extreme thing, right? Like, you got to really want to go for it here. Then back on the Enterprise, we have Wesley Crusher and Data and Geordi in engineering trying to figure out like the teleporting device. They eventually figure out, oh, maybe it's like this teleporting idea, but Data's like, it can't be, like that would be stupid, like that would be like that would kill them, right? And they're like, well, you know, you're not necessarily dealing with the most rational like thought process here. You know, you got a different level of desperation, of fanaticism, perhaps. You know, EJ saying at this point in TNG, especially on the rewatch, is this the first episode to truly get a little darker, talking about really serious issues? It's not the first. Like even last week in The Hunted, I think there were some darker issues. Yeah. Although it's definitely,
say it's the first. I think it's the darkest so far, though.
Perhaps the darkest so far. I feel like there's definitely a turn in season 3 here, where they're definitely going for these more complicated morality, questions and things like that. Like less clear on who is right and wrong, and which I think makes for better TV. And Deep Space Nine really leans into that,
yes,
quite a bit.
Yeah.
But they kind of figure out that using this technology would potentially be killing them, and it's Picard who kind of says, "Well, maybe it's they need a doctor." I know. I think I definitely pulled that clip.
It sounds as though they may require the services of a doctor.
Anyway, so then back on the planet,
the TARDIS sound starts.
Heather was asking earlier, what do I think of these uniforms? Adam loves them more than me.
I think Babylon. I think they remind me of Babylon 5.
Yes,
to be honest,
Babylon 5. Yeah.
Which Babylon 5? Which uniform?
The
blue ones, Justin. The blue ones.
Yeah, the original ones before,
like the Earth Force
the
ones.
Black ones. Yeah, the Earth Force ones.
Well, maybe in color.
Not entirely, but just I don't know, something about this whole planet reminds me of
I can kind of see it from
Babylon 5.
The blue is a kind of a good match, and like that badge on like the right, like their left chest there, I think is kind of
not the helmets though. The helmets are a little much.
Is it Galaxy Quest a little too, or no?
Galaxy Quest won't be for 9 years.
No, but the uniforms.
Also, the cops from Demolition Man. It kind of
that's it. Demolition Man. That is exactly what they look like. Yes.
Yeah, they're all right. So they're
they're using the seashells.
3 seashells. I don't know what
he doesn't know how to use the shells.
Anyway, there's another shot of the uniforms.
Not allowed to swear either.
Sometimes with gloves. Anyway, so they're doing mass arrests all across Rudia, arresting everybody who's basically a member of this group. Whether they have any evidence or anything on them whatsoever. This would never happen on Earth, of course, but only here in this foreign alien.
Some sort of profiling, are you saying?
Some kind of profiling.
That's beyond the pale.
Which Riker has definitely reservations about as he's dealing with them, right? And he's like, "What? Even like these like kids over here?" She's like, "Oh yeah, could be." Like one guy's, I don't know, a teenager, I think, and the other one's probably 10.
Yeah, if that.
Maybe 8.
Yeah, they're already going gray though, so they look mature.
That's part of the
species.
Society, the species.
Yeah. Anyway, so Riker's like, he's like, this is crazy, this is not a normal thing, but this was part of our history and we got over it. How did we do that? That part's not explained.
Okay, but there is something to be said here. Okay, about later on the episode where like Picard says like, we are not involved in this. We don't. What are you talking about? And then meanwhile, Riker is here talking to this lady, watching this happening, and he's just going like, this is a little messed up, eh? And she's like, well, we have to. And he went, Riker just kind of goes, okay.
Her defense is like, I'm way softer than my predecessor. I'm right. Not. Like, you should have seen what they were doing before I took over. I'm a moderate.
Right. Gul Dukat thought that too.
Yes, he did.
This is always the way. My point is, the Federation come in here and they act like they're always like the altruistic. They're always out for everyone's best interest, but they do pick sides. They do. That you know,
Well, they tend to like when they show up at a planet, they're more likely going to deal with whoever the largest group government is, whether it's
Right.
like a just or
Yeah.
not. Like I guess that
So
makes sense.
Even
And they're
Brian-
always going to deal with the side that, or against the side that takes one of them hostage.
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not. You're not. That's not winning the points here.
no,
Flipper
for sure.
asking, "Can I show any motion videos, or does that get you in trouble?" It doesn't get me in trouble. It just like gets me like sort of like I'll get copyright strikes and or like I'll have to remove that section of the video if we use that. So
I thought, is it copyright or is it like monetization?
it's both, but I just don't like all the strikes and like the flags. And sometimes they will block the video in some countries. So anyway, so more kids being arrested. Then we go back to Finn, and then we see his sensitive side. He's an artist. He's drawing Dr. Crusher as she works here on patients, working with the kid to get the medical supplies. And then she sees him drawing. She's like, "You should be an artist, not killing people." And this is where they have the George Washington debate, like, or the conversation where he's talking about like, I've studied your
win.
history.
Yeah.
You know, she asked this first question.
How can you have such a casual attitude toward killing?
A casual attitude towards killing.
Yes, I've read your history books. This is a war for independence, and I am no different than your own George Washington.
Washington was a military general, not a terrorist.
The difference between generals and terrorists, Doctor, is only the difference between winners and losers. You win, you're called a general. You lose.
You are killing innocent people. Can't you see the immorality of what you're doing? Or have you killed so much you've become blind to it?
Some interesting points, you know, on all
both right.
sides.
They're
Both right. You know,
Yeah, they are both right.
he's like, I take my killing very seriously, you know. And he doesn't have any sympathy for the Federation being like this neutral party. He's like, yeah, you're involved. You know, you're collaborators. You're in bed with them, with my enemies, right? So I got to do what I got to do. But I think Justin's got a point. Is that he's very much out of touch with like he's not a human, but his routinism, and you know,
His rootmanity.
his humanity. Yes, well said. So then we have Riker back with the woman. Like they're doing all the interrogations here of the various people. I guess members of this group all wear purple. Is that what their whole thing is?
Is that like the common civilian uniform, or is it just the NSATA that wear purple? And if they wear purple and let themselves be known like that, I got some more questions about that.
I think that's what we're meant to think because obviously they're the same species, so they all have that thing in their hair. But you know, I think that these members of this group are meant to be purple. Anyway, they bring in the next guy who we know is definitely part of this, based just on that the teaser for the episode. He comes in and she starts questioning him. She's like, "You were the waiter at the restaurant. Maybe you're the one who planted the bomb." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But Riker with his special bullshit detector abilities, he knows this guy is full of it. He knows that this guy is probably the one, and so he's like, "I have a message for your people. I need my woman back. I need my doctor back. You gotta tell them I'm ready to negotiate and whatever else here. Take this message back." And she's like, "Riker, how could you?" But he's like, "I gotta try something. Whatever your strategy is, it's not gonna work." And you know,
I like that one.
Yeah. What do you mean? That face is she's not in charge?
Yeah. She says, "What I want to do is go home to her country."
What I want is to go home, back to my own country, to leave behind the roundups, the interrogations, the bodies lying in the street, to be able to walk without the bodyguards, and not to have to jump at every unexpected noise. That's what I want, Riker.
See, this is more like representative of Britain, Ireland, right? And the
Right.
occupation there, because that occupation was more like, they weren't from there, they were conquering it, right?
Where versus like Israel, Palestine, which is like them.
They believe that's their homeland. So
right. They're
that's,
both indigenous in their
yes,
mind.
That's more
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like with her, it's like, well, why don't you just go home to your country then?
Yeah,
like
you can.
But she's not allowed. These are her orders, I guess. This is the empire she serves. All of the above.
Yeah, you're right. It's more of a thing about empire rather than like a belief of like that's your home, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she goes back. That guy goes back to deliver the message from Riker. Later on here, we have Picard and Data seeing if they can track the dimensional thing, and this is where Data asks the whole question about when is it okay? You know, like I've reviewed the history of this.
I've been reviewing the history of armed rebellion, and it appears that terrorism is an effective way to promote political change.
Yes, it can be. But I have never subscribed to the theory that political power flows from the battle of a gun.
Yet there are numerous examples when it was successful.
This is the Irish reunification line, the Mexican line.
What does he mean? He doesn't subscribe to the theory that political power doesn't come from a barrel of a gun. What else does it come from? Like, you know, for the most part throughout history. I mean, really, like it always, like, I guess a sword, you know, like political power is always with a threat of violence. Every government that ever takes anything.
Because if whether you're, you know, I guess if you commit a crime, for instance, you know, like that the government has the ability to imprison you or execute you or whatever.
I think Picard is saying that he believes more in the philosophy of soft power, like how the former United States of America used to act,
right?
With a lot of soft power around the world, a lot of outreach, a lot of aid programs, and things like stuff that the Federation does.
Right.
But I also think that he's got how many hundreds of years since Earth has become a utopian society at this point, that it might be hard for him to even fathom like what would be going through Finn's mind.
And you think about like the American mindset, their whole country is born out of this idea of rebellion and and throwing off oppression and like and pushing back here on
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
No taxation without representation, you know, don't tread on me, etc., etc.
America also had a civil war, which is also what we're watching here in this society, right? Like one side he wants independence, one side he doesn't want to give it to them. You know, like whether their causes are different, obviously, but like it's kind of the same thing where it's not allowed. So we must fight, you know?
We must fight. Yeah, like that's the whole thing here. And Picard's answer is like, well, these are complicated, you know, but.
And would it be accurate to say that terrorism is acceptable when all options for peaceful settlement have been foreclosed?
Data, these are questions that mankind has been struggling with throughout history. Your confusion is only human.
He didn't answer his question.
He's like, I don't know. Basically, shrug is the answer.
There are no easy answers to that question. And that's kind of like that. This is what I love about this episode is stuff like that, where Picard is like, you know what, Data, we've been struggling with that question for all of humanity. It's, you know, it's only a human thing to question something like that. Like it's a perfectly natural thing. And he just leaves it at that. Like he doesn't moralize anymore on his stances. And he just sort of says, you know, maybe.
Yeah. Flipper's like, you figure it out, you silly android that wants to be human. I don't know. Like, stop asking so many questions. Moral things. And then Flipper also asks, how did this guy read our history books and go back to George Washington? Well, you know, I guess he figured out what pressure
in that cave. He draws and he reads.
Yes, when he's not getting ready to kill people.
Well, he does ask Beverly, like, he asks if she's from North America.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so
he's clearly familiar with Earth history.
He gets the report here that Riker wants to negotiate with him, right? And his reaction is like, I think I need to kill them. I think I need to blow up your ship and everything else, you know? She talks about having a son, and he's like, oh, is your son on the ship? She's like, yeah. He's like, ooh, that's too bad. Because I have to destroy it. Sucks to be you, I guess, because I'm taking the fight to the Federation. You know, you're involved in this, and he wants to pull the Federation in because it would force them to try to make the other side put pressure on them to negotiate, to sue for peace, basically. you know,
which is effective,
but obviously bad, and not very moral, you know. So here, but this is what he's planning to do, and she pleads with him, but it's to no avail. I just noticed she has no pips on. I mean, it's like where did pips go?
They ripped those off, but not her comm badge.
Yeah, like no pips for you. Anyway, so
Hey Sam.
Hey Sam.
Hey Sam's with us. Hey Sam. Just got back from his darts and he scored a 111 or 111.
Good.
Like good.
I think that's pretty good.
I'm gonna say congratulations.
Yes, I don't know. It sounds good.
Reese's look human.
I don't know enough about it.
Because they ran out of money. That's why.
This is a bottle.
Parallel evolution. That's why. Parallel evolution.
Yeah,
and
they got
several
episodes. They
that...
got the skunk look here, guys.
Yeah, they're the skunk people.
All the budget with the hair dye.
Yeah.
So, we're just gonna right with you really quick. Okay, get them out there. Anyway, so later on in the Enterprise, their attack takes place. This poor guy walking along with this woman. I don't know. Maybe they're on a date. Who's to say?
They're on they're in uniform.
Why they got the old uniforms on?
Because they can't afford to buy every extra new uniforms right now. It's only season 3, and they just got rid of the old ones yet. So that's why they'll be doing this for at least until season 4, I think. Anyway, so then, but it's pretty impressive with this technology. You can just jump onto the Enterprise out of nowhere. Like, does the Enterprise have to be in orbit? How far away does this technology stretch? Is never quite established. But anyway, this guy's like, "Huh? Who are you, skunk woman?" And she's like, "Well, here, say hello to my little friend." Boom. As he gets.
Did you notice that the women have black streaks in their hair, not white streaks?
Yeah, they have black streaks. Yeah, I guess
I didn't notice that until then.
That's why the lead woman there from the police side, like it's hard to tell that she's like an alien at all. But yeah, that's what they're doing with the women. Anyways, this guy gets killed. She's shocked. And then Worf gives the report that this is coming in. Picard, he orders general quarters, red alert, down in engineering. Geordi and his team get a couple of these terrorist guys, pop in on them. And all of a sudden, they're shooting some of his people. This is the second guy that will be murdered by them. They can't even get him a uniform. They can't even get him the new uniform. He had to die in the old uniform. What a thing to do to somebody.
Definitely got a cool link.
Yeah. This guy almost gets it, but he just hits the wall.
My favorite part is Geordi's jump. Right,
Geordi jumped to avoid being shot. Yeah, and then he let
this rewatch.
It's too bad we didn't get a roll there too.
This rewatch has really shown me how much of a physical actor LeVar Burton is in the show. He gets the shit beaten out of him so many times.
You see that episode where he's in the turbo lift and it's going nuts? And
I was thinking about that.
He's getting thrown around. Oh, yeah.
You can see the sweat down his back by the end of it.
He's like, what do you need me to do? Okay, I'll jump.
He can barely see through this visor, too. Right, like he can kind of see through it, but like not really.
There's got to be some outtakes where he just smacks his head when he's jumping, or because he can't see the wall. I'm sure.
No, not with that visor on.
We got EJ saying this is going to sound so bad, but besides Sub Rosa, Beverly episodes are so much better than Troy episodes. And Heather saying we are not tolerating any Sub Rosa slander here on this channel, not even from Jody. So
we are pro Phantasmal Rendezvous on this channel.
LeVar Burton gets the shit beaten out of him in this episode. He was that was worse in Roots, but
yes, he had it worse in Roots, but at least he could see in Roots.
Yeah, arguably a small step up.
Anyway, so here on the bridge, I guess we're not to that part. Yeah, they put a bomb right in the warp core, and then pop away here. They were planning to destroy the entire Enterprise. Everybody on board.
This just confirms again that the Enterprise has the worst security ever.
Yes.
Good
thing Jody's not here too. He trashed and Worf all up and down. He's like,
what are they running? Linux? It's not very good.
Anyway, so Geordi tries to take off the bomb, but it's glued on or something. So they're preparing even to do like a saucer separation and evacuation. But Geordi's like, no, I got the tool right here. It's a little laser pointer. And I'm going to just.
So they talk about a saucer separation. Like this is the second time since like Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah, maybe. Like I think there was one other time in season 1, but.
Do you know how much of the budget a saucer separation takes up?
Yeah, it's too expensive.
3/4.
Yeah, so that's
why we have the old uniforms.
Exactly. You think we can afford that? We can't even afford to give every extra the new uniform. Anyway, so
they could afford to mention it. That was it.
They just mentioned it. They just mentioned it. That took off, half the budget right there.
Why did he specifically wanted like Jordy says, okay, now beam this bomb, like, lock it on
off the
yeah, 2 kilometers off like the starboard nacelle, and I was like, maybe 10 kilometers would be better.
Exactly. I was thinking the same.
Yeah, but I guess it had to be 2 kilometers so that we could watch it in this particular shot for it to work here. So at this particular distance, and it blows up.
That's 2 kilometers. The Enterprise is giant.
That is not 2 kilometers. That is way further.
I think it's closer than maybe that.
No.
Okay, if that's
the Enterprise is. I think the Enterprise is like 750 meters long.
Okay,
that's
it.
Look
at the saucer section. If that's 2 kilometers from what?
From the nacelle.
You're telling me it's only 1 kilometer long?
The Enterprise is less than 1 kilometer long.
Wow.
Then the scale doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry guys, I don't know. So anyway, the bomb has been defused. Geordi checks his dead guy, and he confirms he's dead. And then
old uniform.
And so now they're into Plan B. We didn't destroy the Enterprise, so Finn then he teleports himself onto the bridge. It was a wild ride for him, along with the alien woman with the black streak in her hair, and they're shooting Data's console. Everything going on here. Picard jumps into action. Action, Picard. This is clearly not Picard and Finn.
That's a stunt double.
Yeah, very much stunt doubles. Yeah, but
it looks like he's wearing a mask. Like,
yeah, these
like Kevin O'Leary.
and the Finn is also a stunt double for sure. There.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's way more fit.
Yeah, it's a quick here, but I love that I got the thing. Yeah, bigger Picard. Exactly. Seems like all the alien women are redheads. Maybe like they're all kind of one haired here. Then falling down here. The woman takes her shot. She nearly kills Worf, but I think his Baldric saved him from this blast, perhaps. So props to the Baldric. His Worf goes down here, but they don't know if he's living or dead. His Picard is on top of Finn. They call for medical emergency.
What's the red shirt doing back there?
Hiding.
Nothing.
She's like, I'm not even supposed to be here today, quite frankly.
Stupid lower decker.
I'm not doing anything here. I just got shot. And so Picard gets warped away here by the dimensional portal as well as Finn hits the return button. And Data's like, where'd you go? Riker's going to be so mad at me.
At least they didn't do that whole thing where he's like pawing at the ground.
Come on. Anyway, so Picard now they've lost Picard on top of Beverly Crusher. Register's like died in the original series. Silly. Yeah, that's right. They know what's up now. Picard gets brought down here. He's been handcuffed and everything. He then reunites here with Beverly, who realizes that he's now also a hostage. Then back on the Enterprise, Riker is returned with the woman, Alexana, the police woman. And, kind of explaining that I think did they tell us that Worf is alive or is going to make it here? I think whatever, but Wesley Crusher. The main thing is like the next time they use their dimensional transporter, we'll be able to track them, but not yet. So for now, they just have to wait. They can't find them. There's this conversation here with Picard and Beverly where, she's saying like the situation is a little bit more complicated. He says like, I don't need to remind you of the psychological effects of being a hostage and how that can make you more sympathetic to, your captive's motives. But but he drew some pretty pictures. Well, we'll get to those later. But the first goal here is to escape. Finn shows up, and this is where he's talking to Picard about, Picard's like, I'm not going to help you whatsoever. He's like, yeah, you are. And, he wants the Federation to have a seat at the table. He's like, you pulled up the chair, Captain. I'm just making you sit down in it, basically, is his way of saying it. But Picard doesn't subscribe to this guy's thought process. Anyway, then later on here, we got Troy walking along. She then is encountered here randomly in the hallway by Finn after he does another teleporting jump. What does he tell her? I'm trying to remember.
He gives her a bunch of terms for the Federation to basically, like, if they want the captain back, like, you gotta give us what we want. It's a bunch of treaty stuff and that kind of. I forget the specifics, but it was like multiple terms. It was like 4 or 5 terms.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to do all these things and blah blah blah. So or he dies basically. And I guess Deanna reports there. The security guards show up a little late. Yes, good comment here. We need the most capable man in Starfleet to solve this mystery right away. Not Data, Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
He's the man who's going to figure this out.
There's so many episodes where they do this, where it's like, Wesley's got to solve this problem. It's like, what? He's 19 years old, 18 years old, whatever he is. It's like should be lucky to be there.
He's a prodigy.
Yeah, he's a prodigy.
Yeah, but he kind of figures out where they're hiding from the last jump here, and that they have sort of a location that they can kind of zoom in on here. So we see Worf is now recovered from sickbay, and he's like, I really let down the captain before. I want to go with you, Riker, and bust some heads.
Worf's the worst in this episode. I cannot stand Worf. Like he's such a he's such a pouty baby.
He's the worst, honestly, until I don't even know what season. He's just not until he grows his hair.
Yeah. Yeah,
I always like him. But...
He has like no backbone. He has like no charisma, really. He's just kind of like this, like
run away.
Yeah. Exactly what you said. I feel bad that I didn't protect the captain. Can I help?
Yeah, he always has the wrong idea, which is part of what Jodie always says. He's like he's meant to have like the dumb idea that they say, no, let's do the good thing. Let's actually do the right thing. And he's like, oh right. I know this. Anyway, Wesley also wants to go, but I think he just ends up wishing them luck here. Worf's role, Riker's sidekick. Well, maybe, yeah. Wesley, the second coming of the great bird of the galaxy. Yeah, that's also true. So so they're going ready for the thing. We got Crusher doing the medical treatments. Finn, and he's like, I guess I'm gonna have to kill your captain now. Because.
Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I'm in pretty deep, I guess, on this whole enterprise, if you will.
There's a few times where I'm like, that's so like, I don't get it. Like where like he has all the leverage now. He has a captain of the Star Trek, like of Starfleet. Like he
has leverage.
He has super leverage, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill this person. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Like I don't get it. Like I don't understand why they wrote it that way. Because it doesn't track for me.
Yeah, well, the comment here was like, it's honestly insane to provoke like the Federation government in that way. And like we saw with all those Israeli hostages, like they weren't all immediately killed. They were held on to for a long time. But some of them were killed. Anyway, so she's like, I'm more than this, and then she like sees his like pictures, his drawings, and they're all drawings of her. Maybe he's in love. He loves her eyes. Yeah. Her eyes in particular. He should be drawing more pictures. Meanwhile, the Enterprise away team, along with that woman and a couple of her security guards, beam in here. They subdue a couple of the purple people with their little hypo sprays. I hope they were hypo sprays. I don't think they killed these guys, right? Make them faint here. The thing is, their plan here is to like knock out their power generator so that they have no lights, because this is a cave underground with no way out. So knocking out the lights would be in the confusion the best bet. Crusher comes back here to talk to Picard, and Picard's like, you need to stop sympathizing so much with them. Like they're going to try to kill you and whatever else. But she says, have you managed to like work him over, basically, is Picard's question to Crusher. She's like, I'd say so. Look at this. He likes drawing my hands and my eyes, I think, in particular.
She's turned on 100%.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. Which Picard says to her, he's like, you know what can happen when you're under captive, and she goes, yeah, I know that. I know I'm turned on, whatever. So she like brushes it off and she's like, here's the point. I got to tell you something. Then the lights go off.
But this is the part where she's like, there's something I have to tell you in case we don't get out of this. What was it? Like, I've always loved you.
I think she was going to tell him that she sympathized with they're not their cause, but like their point of view.
Picard, they are terrible, Beth. They're legit.
They're going to make a little Jack Crusher here.
We appreciate the subscription there, Flipper. That's good for you. Anyway, just then the power goes out. Riker's team, like, they're in full swing here. As the fighting is underway, we got Worf busting up heads. We got different punches and everything else here, and the Riker's throwing some haymakers. And so Finn decides, okay, I guess like my whole operation's been busted here. So he decides he's just gonna run right to Picard and kill Picard, and that's like what he's gonna do here. And point the gun right at it. Now, was he gonna pull the trigger?
Probably. Like the way they wrote him in this part of the episode made no sense to me. But yeah, probably.
He had nothing. Your point earlier, Jeff. He had nothing at this point to lose.
Like, I think maybe he wanted to be taken more seriously, and he thought that killing Picard would make them take him more seriously. But
maybe
I have a feeling that it would have taken him more seriously by bringing in the Federation security forces and completely fucking up his day. I don't think it would have gone the way he wanted it to.
Well, he thought, like, if you think of like October 7th, right? Like, part of like they partly did want that response, like this crackdown, because it did show like look how terrible that the oppressive government is, right? Like when they want revenge. And so like that is sometimes the motivation of terrorism, is to provoke a strong backlash. And so maybe that's what he's hoping for here. When the Federation shows up and they start, maybe that will galvanize my people even more. Maybe
or the universe, I guess,
or the galaxy. At one point, like Finn says, I always dreamed of like joining Starfleet and going around the galaxy, but I never had time for it because I'm so busy, fighting for my country's independence or whatever. But just then, the woman, that the police woman, Alexana, that Riker's been working with, she shows up. She points the gun at Finn's back as he's about to kill Picard, and she shoots him in the back. And then at first I'm like, well, maybe that was kind of like she shot him so he wouldn't shoot Picard. But then Riker pops in like 10 seconds later, and he was just like, you didn't have to kill him. Like, that wasn't
stunned him.
You could have stunned him. And she's like, yeah, but he would have been a martyr, and that was no good. Or
she made him a martyr.
But she made him a martyr.
No, she said that he would have been a prisoner, and then it would have galvanized his people to try to break him out. It would have caused more violence. This way, he's a martyr, and maybe it'll stop for a while, but then it'll start up again because it's cyclical. It never ends.
Yeah.
That's
her argument doesn't really make sense, but like
no. Earlier in the episode, I think Finn says, "One dead martyr is worth 10 posturing leaders."
Yeah,
so it almost foreshadows the fact that that's how he's going to end up.
Right. Yeah. And everyone else is like, well, whatever. Like, they kidnapped Picard and Beverly, so they had what was coming to them in some way, I guess, from their perspective. Then this kid shows up and he's ready to kill her for killing Finn. And it's was that someone knocking? Anyway, Beverly says, no more killing. Stop the killing, kid. Like, stop with the cycle. And the kid's like, okay. And he puts the arm down, and they're like, okay, and off to jail with you, kid. Into the detention center. Hopefully he survived there. And,
he did the right thing. Off to torture.
Yeah, send him off. And she goes, the cycle of violence never ends. He'll be like the next Finn, right? And he goes, didn't he just prove you wrong by not killing you, by not attacking you there? Like, your whole worldview is kind of shattered. in this moment because
And she totally blows it off. You could see it on her face. She's just like, no.
Nah, you don't get it.
No,
So
you just don't get it, Riker. You don't
I'm
get
a
it.
moderate.
Yeah.
Riker. I'm
Yeah.
a moderate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then here's like what Justin's been talking about the whole podcast. He's like, then it just all kind of wraps up. They all come back to the Enterprise. Everyone's happy. Wesley got his mom back. They're all hugging and smiling, and they're like, can we get on with it now? Like, no mention of the 3 crew members who have died.
So this is the light moment now of the wrap up.
I like
those people don't matter, Dave. These people on the bridge do.
I know.
But you needed the cute little music, at the end of the episode here that wrapped it up.
This is what they're still trying to do, the original series thing where and at the end they all have like a nice little laugh on the bridge and then fly off, right? Like
yes. Gene Roddenberry, is he dead by this point?
No, he's still running things.
Yeah.
That's
the issue.
Yeah. Maybe they come back and there's a funeral for the dead crew members. That would have been kind of
that would have made sense, and it would have been better had it ended in a more somber way, because that's what this episode is.
They don't come to any conclusions about who was right and wrong in the episode, which I love, but I'm also not a big fan of the let's just hug and get back to your station at your leisure, Wesley.
Yeah, engage and go, and that's and then the episode's over. Like, let's get the hell out of this hellhole.
Forget they have that little chair for Beverly on the.
Yeah. There's one on each side. So that sometimes Beverly sits on the other side, sometimes this side, but sometimes an admiral sits there. Worf doesn't get a chair.
The thing is, Wesley got his mother back, or
the
crew got to be with her son. But it's like, what about all the people that just died?
Yeah, you saw how concerned they were that maybe Worf was dead, right?
Right.
When he, but they're like, well, and those other people are dead. And in time to see the end credits. Yeah, here we go. Thanks, Norman. Glad to have you with us. So that is the episode screenshots. I would love to hear the fun facts from you, Adam. And
I have some.
Amazing. Fun facts with Adam.
Thank you. Okay, let's get started. First of all, 1 second. This episode was conceived in response to producers' request for more action-adventure scripts. The dimensional shifting technology was created to meet Gene Roddenberry's concern that terrorists would need a logical method to defeat the Enterprise D's technology.
Yeah, well, that's fine. It's science fiction. You can invent something like that.
And originally, the plot was intended to have parallels to the American Revolution, but writer Melinda Snodgrass was told to change the analogy to Northern Ireland. A change she was very unhappy about, actually.
What did she want to do originally? Sorry?
She wanted to do American Revolution. She wanted Picard to be Cornwallis, and the Romulans would have been the French, who were in our revolution, trying to break this planet away. Suddenly, Picard realized he's one of the oppressors. Instead, we do a breakfast in Belfast, where our people decide they're going to go off to Northern Ireland. The episode was that's not important. Okay. One of the monitors in Alexander's office features modified images of Earth, and cities can be made out. One of them is an image of the World Trade Center, Twin Towers.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I think it was very small in the background there.
I think I've never seen it.
This episode marks the first appearance. Oh my gosh. They spent some budget on the darker blue carpeting on the ramps.
In what room?
In the bridge.
On the bridge.
Oh,
you want to bring it back? I saw it actually.
Yeah, there's a bunch of. Go back to the screenshot where Picard is humping Finn.
Humping Finn? Oh, like hold on.
Yeah, you'll see the carpet there.
Gotta get back there. Oh yeah. Sorry, it's like in the middle of the episode here. Carpet.
Nice vamping. That's good.
While you're looking for that, many of the other writers on the show were extremely unhappy with the episode. There we go.
Yeah.
No, there you go.
New carpet.
What was it before? Beige? Red?
Red.
It was red everywhere?
It's like reddish tan, I want to say. Like,
so did they just cut the carpet down the middle and put that blue in?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I guess it looks better, maybe. I don't know.
Does it?
Okay.
Okay, many of the other writers on the show were extremely unhappy in this episode. Ronald D. Moore was one of them. He described it as an abomination. It's one of our terrorist shows. We don't have anything interesting to say about terrorism except that it's bad, and Beverly gets kidnapped. Oh,
I disagree with Ronald D. Moore, who I'm definitely a fan of.
I'm more on Ronald D. Moore's side on that one.
They take her down to the caves, and we have a nice, big, peachy speeches about terrorism and freedom, fighting and security forces versus society. It's a very unsatisfying episode, and the staff wasn't really happy with it. Likewise, Michael Pillar commented, another show that I wasn't particularly happy with. We set out to do a show about terrorism, but what was the statement? What was the statement we made about terrorism? What was the point where the boys put that down? Sorry, what was it? The point that where the boys put down the gun and said maybe the end of terrorism is where the first child puts his gun down in the fight.
Well, I think that's part of it, but I think that it's also the hypocrisy. I think like the Federation is definitely like a stand-in here for the United States,
yes.
and how the United States is like, no, that kind of violence is unacceptable. But it's Finn who makes this speech. I haven't played it yet. Just listen to hear what he's talking to Beverly. But how many innocents died to create the Federation?
How much innocent blood has been spilled for the cause of freedom in the history of your Federation, Doctor? How many good and noble societies have bombed civilians in war, have wiped out whole cities? And now that you enjoy the comfort that has come from their battles, their killing, you frown on my immorality?
You know, I think there's
It's
some
a great,
interest.
well-written speech.
Yeah, like to say like this episode doesn't quite work. I think because it's complicated. I don't think that there is a clear moral who has the high ground here between these two.
I think for me, what I feel like Ronald D. Moore's issue with the episode is the way they ended the episode. You know, the way they make Finn at the end just this like bloodthirsty kind of like I just like killing. Like they kind of do this threat. Throughout the episode, there's like moments where I go, that doesn't make sense. And then there's other moments where he has a speech like that. And I go, yeah, that makes total sense. So I feel like there's like multiple writers kind of like weaving in and out here where like one's going,
there was an earlier draft where he was more nuanced, like he is throughout parts of the episode. And then this later draft where he's nuanced and then just want to kill Picard.
Right. Well, he has this line too, right?
I feel
I'm
like
willing to die for my freedom, Doctor. And in the finest tradition of your own great civilization, I'm willing to kill for it too.
Yeah. I feel like Ronald D. Moore got his hands on this script and he tried to make it the best he could. You could see it like with certain lines of dialogue. And then other times you're like, what? Like that doesn't correlate to what he just said like 5 minutes ago.
And this episode was written by like officially was written by Melinda Snodgrass, who's like she's better at like the legal like episodes like Measure of a Man and like these kind of courtroom dramas and that kind of stuff is her bread and butter. And this is less of a legal kind of quandary and more of a morality thing, you know. But anyway, sorry.
I feel like in the writers' room they were all just bitching about this. And they didn't like the direction, and they were told to go one way, and so this is all their complaints. And even Brennan Braga observed there was a problem with the process in which the story was created. Very rarely do we start thinking about an episode in terms of an issue. Let's do an episode about AIDS. Let's do an episode about terrorism. We rarely think in those terms. We usually think in the terms of a neat science fiction twist that sends us along a path, which develops into a story and who's in it. So,
yeah. Well, but I think that's also what they used to do better in Star Trek writing is like, we're not trying to write an episode about this, specifically, but you can weave those themes in. Whereas I think some of the new modern Trek is maybe guilty of that, where we're trying to write an episode about immigration or we're trying to write an episode about whatever, and sometimes it doesn't end up the best episode.
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm coming back to the whole banning of this episode due to a line from Data in a reference to the Provisional Irish Republican Army and the reunification of Ireland in 2024. This episode was originally banned in the United Kingdom and in the Republic of Ireland, not airing until usually in the usual running order on the BBC in 2006. Sorry, in 2006 it was shown on Sky One with the relevant line edited out. and it wasn't until 2007 where it was finally unedited, in an after midnight repeat slot.
Right. Still, it has to be. No kids can see this. We can't talk about reunification of Ireland in 2024 until after midnight. That's all that.
It's an R-rated subject.
Yeah. The blue police uniform used by Alexandra Devos was reused with slight modifications and different badge in Random Thoughts, 1997, which was Deep Space Nine. Just coming go here. This was the first episode of Star Trek franchise to be written by a woman and directed by a woman.
There's only one other episode that did that.
It was written by a woman and directed by a woman. Only 2 episodes in the history of Star Trek?
Yeah, only one other one.
Wow.
The only other one was Exile, written by Phyllis Strong and directed by Roxanne Dawson.
Not a good episode.
It's a TNG episode, Exile?
No, it's a Voyager episode.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a Voyager episode, isn't it?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Isn't it the one where B'Elanna is like on the barge, and I feel like I could be wrong. I feel like
it's a Star Trek Enterprise episode, Exile. Yeah, it was Ensign Hoshisato is contacted telepathically by an alien named Tarquin. Oh, you remember that one? It was like the Beauty and the Beast one, Adam, that we watched in Enterprise.
Yes.
I
like that one.
That's the only other episode in the history of Star Trek where you have a woman writer and a woman director.
Only.
That's insane in all the episodes of Star Trek.
Yeah, there's other episodes where a man and a
Where's
woman
Heather when we
wrote it.
She would have something to say about that.
Heather would have something to say, and it would be better than what I have to say about it. But like, it's just incredible. That's like there are hundreds of episodes of Star Trek. Like hundreds.
It's a little disappointing.
There must be thousands. Honestly.
Does that include Discovery and all that too?
Yeah, it includes everything.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Anyway, that wraps up the fun facts tonight, guys.
Well, thank you, Adam. That was very fun and factual. Always appreciate those beats coming in. Okay, we are going to get into our ratings here. I was trying to click on Heather. I was holding back on my commentary because this is a family-friendly channel. Well, we appreciate that. The women are.
I don't think she holds back ever.
No, only she's just not on camera. That's
don't hold back.
Anyway, let's get into our ratings, everyone. Time to rate the episode. Bum, 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 bum. Bring it in. All right, let's throw a score on here. I think I saw a couple scores from the audience coming through.
Music, Dave.
We do need some. 7.5 here from Norman. I might have some kind of music I can play for ratings. How about whatever this is? The Federation anthem.
Not that.
So
this works. The Federation theme anthem. Now it's distracting me. Okay, so we are going to go. I think this episode is better than I remembered it. It says a lot more today than it did at the time, which I think is only giving it more strength. Plus, it's got this whole like vibe of like it's directed by a woman and written by a woman, which I never knew. So I'm going 9, just for that. Adam, I'm going to go 8.
8. Okay.
The reason I say 8 because we've got some really great episodes coming up that I would bench it against.
Yeah. Well, do you want to give a rating to the last episode because you were talking so much about it?
Yeah, I really like that episode. I would give that an 8.5. Again, I'm now looking forward to the list of episodes we got coming, and I'm.
Yeah, they're all pretty good from here. Okay, Jeff, what's your score?
7.8.
Okay, and Justin,
I'm gonna go 8.
8 out of 10. Okay, I'm the high watermark tonight. So we are averaging 8.2. The IMDb score for this episode is 6.8. So not very high in terms of its thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'm out. It wouldn't be the first time I like something more than everybody else does.
I'm gonna have to take mine down a bit because again, I'm looking at that list. Can you take me down to a 7?
Sure.
I was the low vote.
Now Adam's the low vote. Okay, and this aired January 29th, 1990. And
I just turned 6 years old. Not even a week before, not even 2 weeks before that.
Well, Jeff was like
a year old.
Not even. This is a couple months after you're born, right?
And I was watching episodes about terrorism even back then. What year
was it?
1990. But it's January of 1990.
I was 19.
I
was 4 months old.
I was 6, almost 7. So, anyway, for all of that,
grade 13, in the final months
when you still had OAC.
No, it was before OAC.
It wasn't even OAC yet.
No, it wasn't even OAC yet.
EJR giving it an 8.5, but the ending knocks it down to an 8. Yeah, and it's a 7 for Narduzzi. So, all right. Well, I'll have to. I don't have your column open there right now, Heather, but I will fill that in later. All right. Well, that is our rating for the high ground. That is, we now are looking ahead to our next review. Well, I think we're back on Tuesday again next week. And we are covering an episode called Deja Q. Q comes back and he's got no powers. And, the situation is further complicated when, he's forced to live as a mortal. And these aliens come at him.
That's the one we get the Guinan Kung Fu move in.
I think that's in Q Who. But
is it in Q Who?
But there is some great like Guinan Q stuff in this episode as well.
She fork him? Doesn't Guinan fork
him?
Yeah,
she stabs him with a fork in the hand.
Is this the Calamarian episode?
Yes.
I like that episode.
It's got Corbin Burnson come in too.
Burnson from Young and the Restless.
And LA Law and whatever else. So Corbin, I liked his version of Q. I was like, I would have liked to have seen him again.
Yeah, there was that little bit of selflessness, like
it's that little selflessness, yeah. And then he gets his powers back, and he's got the mariachi band.
Powers back,
he's got his, So last question here from EJ was like, how do you think Cisco or Janeway would have handled the terrorist situation here on the planet?
Ruthless.
Cisco would have beat the shit out of him.
Cisco would have bombed the entire planet, basically.
By the time Cisco had him on his back on the bridge like that, he would have already caved in his face. So they would have just warped back to the cave, and Cisco just would have just been pummeling him.
Janeway would have wiped his memory.
Yeah. Or created a transporter mishmash of them.
Yeah.
She would have transporter mishmashed Alexana and Flynn together and then killed them.
Yeah. Whoopie 4-2. Oh, the Q. Yeah. That rhymes. All right. Well, make sure to check out our podcast on Monday nights where we cover a show called For All Mankind from Apple TV, an alternate timeline where the Russians hit the moon first and then all kinds of things break out there. We're going to be talking about season 4, episode 5 next, Goldilocks, this coming Monday. Check that one out. It's got the guy from Home Alone.
I was going to say.
He's in the show now. Cisco.
He doesn't do very bad things in this show, though.
No, he doesn't. And then also on our Super Mario Brothers podcast, we're talking about Survivor season 49 right now, which is why Sam. Oh yeah, because I think Sam Adam wanted to know if you will call him Sam God or something now. Well,
sorry, Sam. No.
Yeah, because of Riz God on Survivor right now, Rizzo. Anyway, so check that out. We'll be on tomorrow night talking about the newest episode, Cherry on Top.
I appreciate Sam. He's been here for a lot of years with us, but no.
Sam God. Sam Hain. All right. Well, thanks for being with us, everyone. This has been fun. We'll see you next time here on Live Long and Podcast. And we're going to go. I think I played all the quotes, so I'm going to go back to. I'm going back to this one about independence. We'll see you next time here, and thanks, and stay classy, everyone.
Yes, I've read your history books. This is a war for independence, and I am no different than your own George Washington.
Washington was a military general, not a terrorist.
The difference between generals and terrorists, Doctor, is only the difference between winners and losers. You win, you're called a general. You lose.
You are killing innocent people. Can't you see the immorality of what you're doing? Or have you killed so much you've become blind to it?
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.